Hello ladies and gentlemen, Keaton here and welcome to the Tengu Drop Recap for the week of June 21st, 2015. It's been quite an exhausting week with E3 just wrapping up, so I'm a little tired, but nonetheless, it is time for me to run down everything that we released on the channel this week. So let us begin with Monday. On Monday, Joe played with wieners. Yes, he played with wieners in the game Battle Food. It's an early look at a very developmental build of the game, and it's pretty much a game where you shoot hot dogs with several different guns. So, you know, shooting wieners across the street from you. So it's not a drive-by shooting. It's a centralized, centered shooting wieners position. Whatever you want to call it, Joe shot wieners on Monday. On Tuesday, I took a look at a game that I've been anticipating for a little while. It's called Honey Pop. It's a mixture of visual novel / dating sim mixed with a nice match 3 game, very similar to Bejeweled. Unfortunately, I didn't get too much Bejeweled in the game, mostly because I didn't understand the system, but I did dive into the visual novel / dating simulation aspect of the game. I still maintain that I did relatively well given the circumstances and the responses that were given to me. Then again, these are just video game anime girls, so nonetheless, I have been playing this game in my free time. I mostly played it to listening to E3 interviews and whatnot, and I gotta say, if you're looking for a challenging match 3 game, Honey Pop is actually not too bad. I'm gonna give it another endorsement. Honey Pop is actually not a bad game. It's centered around, you know, getting laid, but if you can look past that, it's a pretty solid game, and I actually had to lower the difficulty because it was too challenging for me, so there you go. Honey Pop on Tuesday. On Wednesday, no doubt inspired by the Shenmue 3 announcement at E3, Joe took a look at a sort of like a demo, an introduction to the Shenmue series, or the first Shenmue, in which you had to actually find the president of the company, which is a very interesting way to introduce games. They don't make games like that these days, I just gotta say. You never get to play a Twisted Metal demo and say, find David Jaffe, you know? But nonetheless, it's an interesting look into Shenmue, and I'm sure Joe would be more than happy with Shenmue 3 announced to play Shenmue for the channel. So if you haven't checked that out and you want to see Shenmue on the channel, I'm sure Joe would appreciate you guys telling him. So, you know, there you go. Be sure to tell him. On Wednesday, we also did Dirty Bomb. Now, this is actually the second time we actually tried to record it. The first time we tried with all 4 of us, Joe, me, Tim, and Kevin, but that didn't work out for the reasons that we state in the video. It's a team-based game, but there's no party system. Blows my mind that they would release the game in that state, but again, it's in early access, so fingers crossed, like so hard, that is #1 on Dirty Bomb's update log, change log, things to add to game log. That's gotta be one of the biggest oversights I've seen for a game in a long time, so fingers crossed that they get that dealt with immediately, because that will probably ruin a lot of Dirty Bomb's replayability, because to be honest, I enjoy playing team-based games with friends, not against friends, because again, it's really not that fun. But then again, you know, that's just me. Rant over, moving on. On Thursday, it was Nuclear Throne Roulette time, this time with a twist. Tried to play with a little bit of a challenge added, where I had to hit Oasis, the secret level, in every run for it to count as a actual round. Unfortunately, the game sort of didn't work sometimes the way it's supposed to, and other times I just completely forgot what I was doing, so there was a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, you know, pretty much what you come to expect from the Nuclear Throne Roulette. Yeah. Moving on to Friday. On Friday, we looked at a Jurassic Park map made in Gmod. We had no idea what to expect, and what we got was probably beyond anything we would have expected. Well, we probably expected too much of the map, to be honest. I cut out a lot of just us being lost. Like, there's a whole section of us just getting lost in the forest bit. There's just sections of us getting lost in like the maze bits. I just cut all that out because it was just us running around in circles trying to figure out what the hell to do. We even backtrack on ourselves at one point, which is unbelievably frustrating. And then to top it all off, I'm not gonna spoil it, it just escalates. Going from very optimistic, very excited, to just, what are we playing? The magic of Gmod maps, I swear to God. moving on. On Saturday, we did a game called Orion Prelude. Now, if you are on Steam at all, you probably know this game in some form. It's probably one of the cheapest games that you can get on Steam, next to maybe like Bad Rats or some other dinosaur game, I'm sure, on Steam. But yeah, so we figured, you know what, it's like $1. Why not try it out? And from what I heard, it was a wonderful game. And I say that because if you haven't watched it, I don't know what happened, but it was the most laggiest game I've played in a long time. And I'm not sure if that was due to Joe's internet connection because he was hosting the game. Maybe the game just has bad netcode. I don't know. It might have been a combination of both. But yeah, I'm gonna throw up some footage here of my point of view during the game. As you can probably see, I got very familiar with cliffs because I would try to defend our generator, get knocked off the cliff or get chased off the cliff, try to get back up the cliff, but because of the lag, I couldn't tell where I was going, which way I was going. I was taking phantom damage. I was seeing people teleport. I was seeing dinosaurs teleport. I was getting picked up by ghost pterodactyls. It was ridiculous. But there's a fun game there. Hopefully we'll do more, and then, you know, when we do more, we don't have internet connection issues, because God, I cannot play that game at all. It was the worst experience I've had in a long time with the game. Anyway, terrible way to have to close it out, but yes, that was the week in Tengu Drop videos. On the upside, Joe's side was perfectly fine because he was hosting, so you know, he didn't have to deal with lag. I'm just saying, from my point of view, if it sounded like I was being a negative Nancy in that video, now you know why. I was lagging like crazy and it was frustrating. Anyway, as I was saying, that is the week in Tengu Drop videos. If you missed anything, as always, everything that we released is in the description for your convenience, so be sure to check it all out. Get caught up before we head into next week. In the upcoming week, what can you expect on the channel? Maybe a couple of new games if we're lucky. Nothing set in stone yet, so please don't quote me on any of that, but we do hopefully plan to look at some new games coming out for you. We might return to a couple of serial games that we sort of took a break from this past week on the channel. Who knows? Again, it's really hard to plan out because pretty much nothing goes as planned. One thing you can expect next week is the next episode of the Drop Pod. Yes, originally it was going to take place this week, but this week was so busy with E3 happening, and we didn't have many opportunities to record, so it would have been really difficult for us to fit in a podcast as well. So we are doing the Drop Pod as usual on the final Sunday of the month, as opposed to the Sunday following E3. Hopefully that makes sense. So yes, you can expect us to be talking about E3, post E3, and our impressions of the conferences, everything that was announced and covered during E3. I'm sure we'll talk about Shenmue and all the amazing things that happened at E3, so be sure to check that out when it's released, as well as everything else. So once again, get caught up with this week. Everything is in the description, then get ready for next week. And yeah, to everyone who is caught up, thank you for watching, sharing, liking, favoriting, commenting, all of that amazing supportive goodness. We always appreciate it. And hello to all the new subscribers this week. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. And with that, it brings us to the conclusion of this week's Tengu Drop Recap. If I don't see you guys next week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys the week after for another Tengu Drop Recap. Bye!